Now let's get to the government documents. Google NASA document 1207. You can pull up, it'll take you straight to nasa.gov. You can pull up the PDF. You can read this for yourself. This is free information. Okay? Derivation means the origin. Definition means this is how it's defined. This is how it works. So they're talking about the equations, and you want to talk about the calculus and trig this thing gets into. The equations are based on these airplanes flying over a non-rotating flat Earth. Question: why would this be in any technical manual of anybody if it doesn't exist? The concluding remarks of the report and all the math and the equations. Look at that. This report derives and defines a set linearized system matrices for rigid aircraft of constant mass flying in a stationary atmosphere over a flat, non-rotating Earth. There's your definition of derivation. Obtaining or developing something from a source of origin. Why would you develop the equations for aircraft to fly over something that doesn't exist? Here's another document. We move forward. So the Russians started this study, I found out, in the 1940s. They began to study the light within, they said, the firmament. All right? This is their words. The light, but they were doing a light study. Let's get to the interesting meat of this here. Tells you the instruments they use. So right here, of the daytime sky intended for measuring the brightness of the firmament. Now what's very interesting about that is Daniel chapter 12 verse 4 talks about the righteous shining as the brightness of the firmament. The Bible also talks, 12:3, I'm sorry. The Bible also talks about what? That there are four lights. Talks about the sun, the moon, the stars, and the light that's in the world. We'll deal with that another time. But they were wanting to study this, and they said also the other photoelectric halo photometer for determining the brightness from near sun halo. Whoa. Pause. Time out. Time out. How is something that's supposed to be 93 million miles away, could anything about it be called near? The near sun. Okay? Because remember, they're trying to study how light is operating within the atmosphere with a near sun halo, and they tell you over flat Earth. This is a Russian document, 1957. Let's look at it. We're going to go down through some now here. I'm going to try to go pretty fast. This is the Army Research Laboratory. Notice every time when you see .mil, whenever you see .mil, the only people that can have .mil, military. This is the Army's Research Laboratory. Beacon position and altitude navigation aided by magnetometer. This tells you who they are. I'm not going to get into all that, but this tells you the PhDs and the people who were assisting this study. And here we find something. This section summarizes and notates three kinds of coordinate systems. The first is the Earth-fixed coordinate system, which is fixed to the Earth with a flat Earth assumption. Okay, now remember, we're talking about beacons for aircraft, and aircraft flying, moving, and we're talking about stuff that's moving. Why would you assume, first of all, why would you use the term Earth-fixed? I'll deal with that in a second. And a flat Earth assumption. An assumption means something that is just known to be true. It's just assumed because it is known. It gets more interesting because they have a little diagram here of what they're talking about. And this little diagram of the Earth seems to look like something. And they tell you that this y-axis and the x-axis are horizontal. Oh, like that. Horizontal. And that this little disc right here is flat. And it even has a nice little dome over it. and fixed points on the dome that they use for navigation. And look, does this not look like something maybe we've seen? Oh, what is that? Let me back up. Do you see that? But we're the crazy ones. Why is the biblical Hebrew cosmology shape of the earth in a U.S. Army manual? Why? Oh, Pastor Dean, that's just a coincidence. Oh, really? Well, let's keep going. Look at that. They know the truth. Here we go. This is a different one. Everybody see where this came from? NASA.gov. You could interchange CIA.gov, NASA.gov. It's all the same. Okay? They work together. All right? So this document goes on to say, and the flight trajectory is strictly confined in a vertical plane on a non-rotating flat Earth. And then they've got this nice little equation here. Thus, the pertinent equations of motion for the problem are defined in its the state variable form as, and then they give you the math. Wait a minute, is this unicorn math? Is this Thor hammer math? Wait a minute, no, it's flat. Whoa, what flat? Non-rotating flat Earth math. I'm sorry. Could we just substitute Pegasus, unicorns? No, exactly. Let's keep going. Here, let's back up a little time. Everybody see this? NASA technical memorandum. Where'd it come from? NASA.gov, right? Declassified. Freedom of Information Act tells you all about it. Determination of angles of attack and side slip from radar data and the roll stabilized platform. Langley research that. What's in Langley? Virginia? Yeah, CIA headquarters. Exactly. Also, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Washington, D.C. Wait a minute, I thought they were in Florida and Houston, Texas. Oh, that's right. I'm sure they have an office. All right, let's keep going here. Here's the abstract, blah, blah, blah. Here is in the abstract. Basically what they're describing this manual is all about. It's a summary of it. Here's what they say. The method is limited, however, to application where a flat, non-rotating Earth may be assumed. The application for this whole thing has to be based on a flat, non-rotating Earth. Wait a minute, how many documents are we into here? To say that the method is limited to a flat, non-rotating Earth means it does not work for a spherical Earth. This is interesting because he talks about, it gives you this little frame reference. Look at north, south, east, west, right? And they're telling you that, again, that represents the Earth fixed axis system. Everybody see that, right there? It is assumed herein that the Earth is represented as a flat and non-rotating reference frame. Why would it be assumed that the Earth is represented as a flat, non-rotating reference frame? I'm going to tell you, I'm blown away, but let's this Earth fixed system is interesting here. Why do I say Earth fixed? Isn't it supposed to be spinning, tilted, orbiting, flying through the universe? Yet the stars never change in the sky, right? The night sky. But yet we're spinning, flying, orbiting. Millions of miles. Been doing it for thousands of years. Nothing in the night sky ever changes. They know. Come on, they know. It is assumed herein that the Earth is represented as a flat, non-rotating reference frame. Yet they're going to tell us snipers have to adjust for shooting a 1,000-yard shot that takes about 2 seconds, maybe less than that. But you don't have to calculate the Earth's spin for an aircraft, for a helicopter, a drone. The space shuttle, I'll show you that in a minute too. Let's keep going. Here it is. Notice it says, also by definition, the X And Z plane will be vertical, perpendicular to the horizontal plane of the earth at all times. The horizontal plane of the earth at all times. Oh, I can have fun. I can keep going. Now, why do they say earth fixed system? Well, it's interesting. Here's a few verses, right? The earth is not spinning. According to the Bible, Chronicles 16:30, he has fixed the earth firm and immovable. Psalm 93:1, thou hast fixed the earth immovable and firm. Psalm 96:10, he has fixed the earth firm and immovable. Psalm 105, thou didst fix the earth on its foundation so that it never can be shaken. Who made the earth and fashioned it himself, fixed it fast? And of course, one of my favorites that I didn't put on here, Zechariah 1:11, that says the earth is still and it rests. Earth fixed system. They're telling you, non-rotating, earth fixed. Of course, this was proven by these two scientists in physics, Michelson and Morley. They proved this a long time ago. These two scientists conducted numerous experiments to measure the orbital velocity of the earth through the ether with light beams. And this through the godless and anti-Bible scientific. Of course, I said their experiments showed that the earth was not moving at all. Now, they expected, these guys believed the model, the lie, the Copernican model, they believed they were going to measure how fast the earth was moving. Their experiment showed it wasn't moving. And they were like, well, what's going on? And they repeated these experiments over and over and over again and came up with the same results, true science, the earth's not moving. So Einstein comes up with a theory to debunk this, to get rid of the ether so he can debunk their experiment. And of course, we know what Tesla said about the theory of relativity, that it was foolishness. But anyway, this was proven a long time ago. Now, here's a doctoral dissertation by a PhD candidate that became part of this European Control Conference. In fact, I guess he graduated, but this doctoral dissertation that he began to speak to, I guess, the European Space Agency or whatever, a new path planner based on flatness approach, application to an atmosphere reentry mission. This was designed for the space shuttle, quote, reentry. And it's funny, they put orbit and reentry and stuff like that into quotations. Notice the outline of his doctoral dissertation. Statement of guidance problem. Why would you have a guidance problem? Well, if you're basing stuff on a spherical Earth and it's really flat, then you're going to have a guidance problem. Right? So this guy comes along and goes, you know what? We got to get back to a flatness approach. I'm not making this up. All right? Flatness-based trajectory planning. Here we go. He's talking about for this little vehicle right here. And we'll keep going. Notice he says model in flat Earth coordinates. Everybody see that? Again, this doesn't exist, right? Flat Earth doesn't exist, but we're going to have a model for it. And all this unicorn math sprinkled with fairy dust. So this guy's doing a doctoral dissertation in this present time to help with guidance system of the shuttle, and now we have unmanned shuttle system. But he's doing this and saying we've had guidance problems, so we got to go to a flatness approach, to a flat Earth model. Now I'm going to tell you, this guy's way smarter than me, and he says, guys, we need a flat Earth model. And here's the math for it. Notice this. Assumptions, meaning things we assume are true. Flat Earth. Coriolis and centrifugal forces neglected.
Don't matter.
Here's a doctoral candidate who graduated, got his PhD, becomes a speaker to the European Control Council, and he's telling them it's a flat Earth. We ignore Coriolis, meaning the spin of the Earth. It's completely ignored. Why? Because it doesn't exist. And it's what the Bible said all along. The earth is fixed, stable, immovable, still, and at rest. Everything secret is being uncovered. Here's MIT. Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the top technical school in the country. And then in the description, it says 3 targeting methods were considered assuming a flat Earth. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why would an MIT professor, PhD, why would he assume the Earth is flat? Flat Earth and range based upon the system's requirements. I mean, these and aeronautics and astronautics. Here. Flat Earth assumption. Mind-blowing. All right, let's get back to our documents, government documents here. Just wanted you to see MIT and other doctoral candidates and PhDs saying it's flat and it's not moving. That's what the Bible said. It's flat and it's not moving.
We can say it, and you say it, you're crazy.
Yeah, if I say it, I'm crazy. But these guys can say it, and their papers get passed around among the elite, and a lot of them classified. Yes, and many of them do have Nobel Prize, and they get sometimes they get classified, right? And then declassified. So here, y'all gonna love this. This is what's the website? Everybody, look at top there. Right, NASA.gov. April 1961, National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Calculation of wind compensation for launching unguided rockets. Pretty serious stuff, rocket science. Just so you see it up close, calculation of wind compensation for launching unguided rockets. So we're talking about rockets by Robert L. James Jr. and Ronald J. Harris, Langley Research Center, Langley, Virginia, Langley Field. I would say pretty important stuff, right? Right? I think you'd probably need to get it right. I know if I was their general or their boss, I'd say you guys better get it right. This stuff's expensive, so let's get it right. The missile position in space is computed relative to a flat, non-rotating Earth. Let's keep going here. Here's another one. Okay, completely different document. Where did it come from? NASA.gov, right? Georgia Tech. Here we go. All right. Talks about that, says the Department of Defense contractors must be established for DDC services or have their need to know certified by the cognizant military agency. So this was not to be passed around. This was need to know. All right. A model frequently used is that of, everybody say it, flat, unrotating Earth. All right, here's one. This one is NASA.gov. Now, this is general equations of motion for a damaged asymmetric aircraft. And the technical manual gives you this stuff. The introduction. Here's the introduction, right? They're saying, in order to analyze the dynamics of damaged aircraft and dynamic equations of motion must properly reflect the underlying physics. It must, what we're going to do here must reflect the true physics. And here's what they say. Rigid body equations of motion, reference to an arbitrary fixed point on the body. There are several approaches that can be used to develop the general equations of motion. The one selected here starts with Newton's laws applied to the collection of particles defining the rigid body. Any number of dynamics or physics books can serve as references. So they're saying the physics books can serve as references. So in this paper, the rigid body equations of motion over a flat, non-rotating Earth are developed. Why? Why? So you're telling me that the physics of a non-rotating flat Earth are the proper physics in a NASA document. These are NASA documents. These are government documents. Does everybody see that? Atmospheric refraction errors for optical instrumentation. Fun reading, folks. I'm telling you, fun reading. Here we go. Look at this here. Just wanted you to see the signatures, real signatures. Dr. Fred Hansen, Dr. So-and-so, Dr. So-and-so, General so-and-so. This one, this document was not to be seen. Its transmission or the revelation of its context in any manner to an unauthorized person is prohibited by law. So this was classified in the 1950s. Here, now I want to point this out. Present equations hold for any altitude. Everybody see that? All right, let's see what they're talking about. Table of contents, introduction, validity of flat earth assumption for atmospheric calculations. Validity. You know what validity means? Something that is a solid fact. Let me back up. Remember, present equations hold for any altitude. This is the introduction. This is the table of contents, introduction, the validity of flat earth assumption for atmospheric calculations. If it wasn't flat, if the earth was not flat, why would you start off a classified, under threat of law in the Espionage Act, why would you classify that? It's all here, folks. Introduction here says a comprehensive study of atmospheric refraction errors for optical instrumentation. What is it based on? Based on a flat earth assumption, will be published subsequently. But listen, this relationship is correct for a flat earth and a flat atmosphere. This relationship is correct for a flat earth and a flat atmosphere. So we just saw one document say, this is the correct underlying physics, flat non-rotating earth. We see this document right here say, this is correct for any altitude. I tell you, I've been studying this and I'm blown away, just going back through it. Validity of flat earth assumption. Validity. They're not saying, okay, see what some of them, this is what some of them say, that the flat earth assumption is just to simplify things. But what this is saying is this so-called flat earth assumption is valid. It's valid. Do you see it? Zoom in on it a little bit just so you see it. Validity of flat earth assumption. Just so you know, the definition of validity. The quality of being logically or factually sound. Right? Look at that. He said the second part of the definition, the state of being legally or officially binding or acceptable, that this would stand up in court. Let's keep going here. Assumption. And anyway, let's just say that they didn't put in the validity. They just used the word flat earth assumption. You hear that a lot. Well, the assumption, a thing that is accepted is true or is certain to happen without proof. I mean, we don't even need proof of this anymore. This is what is assumed to be true by the scientific community, by the governments of the world. Everybody see this? Let me ask you something. Are you blown away? What's this one? This is NASACO Technical Memorandum, NASA.gov, mathematical model of a CH-53 helicopter. You guys know a helicopter pilot, right? So here's the NASA manual on that. Ames Research Center, Moffett Field, California. Equations of motion. The helicopter equations of motion are given in body axes with respect to a flat, non-rotating Earth. Meaning the helicopter takes off, it doesn't have to worry about the Earth spinning below it. Here's another one. Vision-based mobile target geolocalization and target discrimination using Bayes detection theory. Oh, a mouthful, right? Here we go. Check it out here. It says the objective of geolocalization problem is to estimate range to target, which can be estimated using the flat Earth model shown in Figure 2, which would be this little thing right here. No curve. Do you notice? The flat Earth model. And your little aerial craft locating a target. Now, if this line was curved here, as it does, 8 inches per mile square, that line is going to intersect at a different point. I'm not a geometry teacher, but that I know. Maybe it's just from golf, right? Flat Earth model, range estimation using flat Earth assumption. United States Air Force Academy. Does everybody see that? Oh yeah, Army Research Laboratory. This is another one, calculating low atmosphere profiles, sound speed at night. So calculating sound speed. All right, pretty important stuff. It says to briefly examine short-range acoustic attenuation at night, we use low atmosphere profiles of wind speed, temperature, relative humidity shown before as input to a flat earth non-turbulent acoustic propagation model called the Windows version scanning fast field program. So, Ted, you're a computer guy. They're talking about running a computer program and using as input to a what? Flat earth. Isn't this interesting? I haven't had to go to one conspiracy website. I haven't been on Infowars.com. And here was the one that kind of started. This is the title of one of the manuals. Everybody read this with me. Propagation of electromagnetic fields over flat earth. Army Manual, February 2001. You can say, oh, Pastor D, the 1950s stuff and the 1960s stuff, oh, they just didn't know. They've learned stuff since. Right? Nope. They tell you right here. And you go into the manual. Here's the table of context. It says comparison of principal fields from an ideal dipole oriented perpendicular to a horizontal and homogeneous flat earth. They tell you right here, it's assumed that the transmitting antenna and target or receiver are located above but near the surface of a flat idealized earth. Over and over again. I mean, I could do this. Closed form solution for ballistic vehicle motion. Meaning we got to know where this thing's going to come down. And what does it say right here? Entering the atmosphere over a non-rotating flat earth. Now, I do believe that there is an altitude, and I'll tell you this, I'll prove this later on. There is an altitude they can reach. It's not outside of the dome. It's not outer space. But there is an altitude that there's a certain gas collected. So some kind of sulfur gas. And they know where that is. So some of the stuff we see, they hit a certain altitude. For a second, you see the weightlessness. Yeah, it exists.
5, 3, 2, 1,
and we're about to go into free fall. Whoa! Whoa! And here's the confusing thing. We are still going up right now. That camera is stabilized to the actual horizon. And it's not until 10 seconds into our 20-second parabola, into our maneuver, that we clip the apex and start heading back down towards the ground. And here we go, 1.8 Gs. Oh.
It's not all CGI. It's not all. I mean, the ISS, all that crap is, yeah. But there is a certain altitude that they can reach. But when they talk about re-entry, all they're talking about is coming back down. Through studying and researching these documents, and I have telling you, I've only shared a few with you, is that I think I know about how high the dome is. I really do. I think it's not much more than 400,000 feet, max.
Our mission as the Civilian Space Exploration Team is to be the first civilian team in history to launch a rocket that reaches space.
All systems are go for launch.
T-minus 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
think I know about how high the dome is. I really do. I think it's not much more than 400,000 feet. Maybe 500,000. I don't think they know even for sure exactly, because they run into gas barriers and things of that nature. So, and see, the Bible says what? Heaven for height will not be measured. The earth for depth will not be measured. They don't know. I don't believe they know the exact dimensions. I do know that they fly certain vehicles, like the space shuttle was designed to fly at 200,000 feet. That's it. Wait a minute. Space, they say, starts at 63 miles. Though the United States, I'll show you next week, debated that fact and didn't want anybody to put any determining factor on where space began. I wonder why we can't have a determining line of where the so-called you escape our atmosphere. We can't define that because they're not escaping it. They are not getting through the dome. And the code name for the shuttle program means lead or iron glass. And it was never designed to go into outer space, according to their documents. That's next week. Oh, payloads for spinning projectiles. Army. Think you need to know where artillery is going to land? Look here. Projectile flight dynamics. A 6 DOF rigid projectile model is employed to predict the dynamics of a projectile in flight. The assumption of these equations assume a flat Earth. These equations, a whole bunch of math we're going to do. Again, why would you do unicorn math? Why would you do Thor hammer math if it don't exist? Why would you try to calculate ballistic missiles, unguided rockets, shuttle landings? Why would you base all your equations, all of your science on a flat Earth, non-rotating, non-moving, stationary atmosphere if it doesn't exist no more than a unicorn or Thor's hammer? All right, I'm going to close here. Let me ask you something. Are y'all convinced? But how many of you know some people that would like some solid proof that's not from the crazy preacher in Alabama? They're just hardcore facts. Jesus said in John 8, the truth will set you free. You do not have to be ashamed that the Bible says we live on a flat earth. That it has ends, it has a boundary, it has a limit. That it has a solid molten glass dome. That it has a near sun and a near moon. You don't have to be, you're right, I'm right, the Bible's right, God's right. This book has said it with specific details. This book is a flat earth, dome-covered earth, heaven and hell earth book. Through and through.